Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. You'll know me from Twitter as NYJ Mike. I'm joined as always by the master of receipts,
How we doing?
NYJ Matt. And Matt, the Jets just made their second round pick in the 2023 draft.
And we're watching it live. Joe Tippman to the New York Jets at 43. We were saying invest in O-line, protect Aaron Rodgers, give me a guy who can play center for 7 years. Mike, you put out the tweet before. All the centers in Jets history, did they find a new one in Joe Tippman at 43? Hopefully.
Look, you hope so. The thought going into the draft was that the Jets were going to take an offensive lineman early at a premium spot in the draft. You missed out on the top 4 tackles in the first round. I don't think that was by design. My real thought is that I think the Jets thought that Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson, Broderick Jones were the top 3 guys. I think their backup plan was to take Darnell Wright, the tackle from Tennessee, at number 15. Of course, he went number 10 to the Bears, and then the Patriots trade out of the pick, number 14, and fucked us to the Steelers, who took Broderick Jones. So the Jets pivot, and you take Tippmann in the second round, who's an interior offensive lineman. And there's a lot of flexibility there because, number one, you're paying Connor McGovern nothing. He's being paid $2 million this year, which, if it was my salary, would be amazing for an NFL football player in a league with a salary cap. Doesn't really matter. $2 million is nothing relatively. And, so you could always move an AVT to a tackle. You could, not start Dwayne Brown, and you have the capability to do that because you're not paying Connor McGovern, et cetera, et cetera. So the Jets needed offensive line depth, and you got it here. You got it at a premium pick at a position of need. I'm very excited about the pick.
I want everyone to come closer to the mic right here. There's 22 starters in the NFL. You have 22 starters on your team. And to make the playoffs, you got to argue that 14 of those starters are good to great to elite. You can afford a couple average starters. You just got a guy who hopefully will become a good to great center, and that fills a void that truly I don't think Connor McGovern is going to ever be an average to above. He graded out pretty well in PFF last year. Okay, perfectly fine. This guy has mobility, has range. The only debate that you would have is why didn't you take John Michael Schmitz over him? And the reason I'm okay with not making that pick, the Jets took him to a top 30 visit, to a dinner. They knew everything they could about John Michael Schmitz, and they didn't take him. Not saying there's like any character or anything wrong, but you had everything you could to evaluate him, and you took Joe Tippman from a school that just breeds offensive linemen. Wisconsin is just a bunch of dudes that grew up on a farm lifting hay bales that are massive men, and now we got one of them to anchor our line and potentially snap the ball with Aaron Rodgers.
And Matt, to your point, similarly in the first round where the Jets took Will McDonald over some other pass rushers who some people might have wanted, I trust the Jets in that regard, where if you want to argue about positional need and, hey, we should have taken a certain different player over a Will McDonald, you can make an argument if you want to take Jackson Smith and Jigba. If you want to take a completely different position, fine. But if you're going to talk within position, I trust the Jets within their own draft board to take a guy over another person of the same position. So if the Jets like Tippmann more than a John Michael Schmitz, that's fine, and I'm very happy with it. I was looking to take an offensive lineman in round 2, especially after missing out in round 1. So now you look at the recent investment in offensive line for the Jets. You have AVT, who's a first-round pick. You have Mekhi Becton, who's a first-round pick. Now you have Tippmann, who's an early second-round pick. That's a lot of stuff to surround your veteran quarterback with moving forwards, and I think the Jets would be comfortable with that.
Yeah, and you took a Pro Bowler and Laken Tomlinson, 1.5 years removed at left guard.
Yep.
And then you can argue that a tackle spot could be a veteran Dwayne Brown and Max Mitchell, who you could groom and be even better. The most important thing in the NFL is to start with getting the quarterback, protecting the quarterback, and then getting to the other quarterback.
Yep.
The Jets got their quarterback.
You have 6 edge rushers.
They are now getting to the quarterback, and they are young. Like I get Bryce Huff could walk after this year,
I'm gonna sneeze. Keep going.
Do
Keep
it.
going. I'm gonna sneeze. No, I'm not going to. Fuck.
You have, I'm going to laugh. You have now Jermaine Johnson.
I gotta sneeze so bad. Jermaine Johnson. Fuck.
You're getting to the quarterback. You're protecting the quarterback. You have the quarterback. Done.
Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Bryce Huff, Carl Lawson, John Franklin Myers, Michael Clemens. You have Quinton Williams inside. You have Quentin Jefferson inside. The Jets are loaded up. That is a ridiculous defensive line rotation. And I think you tweeted out before, you texted me, whatever it was, but now you're putting that defensive line rotation in front of Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter, which is arguably one of the best cornerback trios in football, if not the best. And whatever the Jets want to do at safety, you have CJ Mosley, who's an all-pro at middle linebacker.
Yep.
Re-sign Quincy Williams, and you're probably going to re-sign Quan. I would be shocked if the Jets don't bring Quan Alexander back. But man, like the question is, Matt, now, real quick.
There's one con with Quan Alexander, real quick.
His
I want
name
Will
is
McDonald to wear number
stupid.
9.
Oh, yeah, fine. Okay.
What happened?
They said his name is stupid. Look, Mike is also stupid. My parents are so creative. They thought of Mike. I don't know how they thought of it. And Matt, where did they come up with Matt is unbelievable. But
yeah, Matt means a gift from God from
really?
the Bible. Look it up. Read a book one time.
Read a book. The thing is, Matt, are the Jets, is your starting offensive line next year Mekhi Becton a left tackle?
Yeah.
Laken Tomlinson, Tippmann, Connor McGovern, and AVT at right tackle, or Dwayne Brown at left tackle, Laken Tomlinson at left guard, Tippmann, AVT, Becton.
That is it. That will give you the best chance to win.
And Connor McGovern comes off the bench.
Oh yeah, and McGovern off the bench.
It's either McGovern or Dwayne Brown starting.
Max Mitchell can come off the bench.
Yeah.
Start building some random guy that
I feel so much better. We needed offensive line depth.
We needed it.
Fucking dick. Like, good Lord.
Good Lord. And hey, now we can drink 12 beers, watch every other pick, and maybe Joe Douglas trades up. My God, we just were on
Did you
Jets
just throw
Talk
up in your mouth?
No, we were just on burped. We were just on Jets Talk 24/7 with Ryan, Green Bean, Matt O'Leary. Great fucking dudes. Love them to death. If you are here from there, welcome. We now have 602 subscribers compared to 20K that they have. They're the greatest guys, and their production quality is out of this world because they are doing something special.
We were telling them, we're like, dude, so they basically, we were just talking like this casually. They're asking us questions, and they pulled up the draft in the fucking show. And it was like, we heard the guy, and I'm watching the draft on my TV, and in the video, the guy, whoever, it was Anus Williams from the Cardinals, announced the pick before I saw it on my own TV. I was like, how the fuck did you do that? We have to learn some things, Matt. We got to be a little bit better.
We do the bare minimum to get our Jets content from our dumb brains to people. Twitter is the easiest way to do that. We type in our dumb phone, we make a Riley Reid meme, we hit send, it goes out into the ether.
I don't know who Riley Reid is. It does. It's no idea. Yeah.
Wait. The best is I tweeted that meme pretty early on. When someone replied,
this is the meme, just to be clear, this is the meme where it's like, oh, fuck, she says something else. You're like, and you blank it out. You say, I'm going to jet the fuck up, or I'm going to discount double check.
So I had someone early on tweet at me, and they're like, hey, where is this video from? And then they DM me like, hey, where is this video from? And I'm like, dude, you got it. You got to anti-horny pills. Go figure out your own thing, man. But yeah, they really wanted that video. And I was like, you could probably Google it. Oh, Brian Branch.
I was a little bit overbearing, but if you want to send me the link, Matt, you can always send me the link. It's fine.
Brian Branch to the Detroit Lions.
Wow, the Lions have only drafted positions of not NFL notoriety. They took a running back, a middle linebacker, and a safety, and they've done a good job. But they've taken the least important positions in all of football, and their 3 highest picks.
I would argue they did not do a good job. I would argue that.
Yeah, look, and their GM said, and I respect what he said. He was like, look, Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell were the two highest players on our board by a lot. And we're going to take them. Like, we'll do whatever we want. And everyone's like, okay, you do whatever you want. But now you have three positions that don't matter.
I don't care about the Jack Campbell pick. They needed to get better up the middle, and they did. Like, perfectly fine with that. Brian Branch, perfectly fine. What does it need for a running back? You can take the guy from UCLA, Zach Charbonnet or whatever, from in like the third round. And how much different is that gap between Gibbs when you could have taken Christian Gonzalez? You could have taken anybody you wanted there at pick 6.
The Patriots had to fuck us and then get a terrific cornerback as well.
And I think we could, and I know we're kind of jumping on a different spots here because we're very fired up. There's no guarantee that Broderick Jones is better than Will McDonald. None.
Right.
There's also, if you look at the stats of all pros and first round picks, like the bust rate to Pro Bowl rate for an offensive tackle and an edge are very similar. Like they bust and that's what she said. Pause. They have a bust potential or they hit. Yeah,
they just bust. Defensive edges and offensive tackles, but they bust. What did you think of the Texans trade? So the Texans, of course, took CJ Stroud number 2, and then they traded the 12th overall pick, a number 1 next year, the 33rd overall pick this year, and a 2 next year, right? I think it was those 4 picks for the 3rd overall pick. They traded like basically 3 first-round picks because you count the 33rd overall pick as like a first-round pick, and the 2nd next year for Will Anderson.
I'm fine with it, and a lot of people called it a fleece, and not arguing it. They gave up a ton, but if you move up 9 spots, you have to give to get. It's like a fancy baseball trade where someone offers you, they want to get Juan Soto, and they offer you, give me the most random baseball player.
Miles Straw.
Yeah. And like, hey, we'll get you a lot of steals, man. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
The reason I'm okay with it is you gave up your franchise, your franchise hero in Deshaun Watson. He's an asshole. He's a terrible person, but he was their hero and their guy. And you gave up.
Matt, to your point, people forget the Texans were winning 24-0 in the AFC Championship game. 2.5 years ago? 3 years ago?
And yeah, in Arrowhead. Yeah. And when there's a guy named Yaya Diaby.
Yeah.
So my point is, if you give up a guy like that,
what does that have anything to do with?
No, I'm just watching the TV. He got drafted, or he's.
I was like, does that have anything to do with the Texans? I don't know.
If you give up your guy, your franchise guy, and you net, I think they might have a 1 next year from Cleveland. They definitely had the 1 this year. They traded it, yeah. They gave that up, and I think they have another 1 next year. I could be very wrong.
It was 2 1s, right? I think so.
So at that point, you're saying we're playing with house money. We have a bunch of fucking picks. I want my quarterback who I got, and I want the best defensive player in the draft, and I'm going to get him. So good for them. They have pillars now. What I think they need to do is they need to get more dynamic offensively. I thought they were going to stay at 12 and take a receiver and take Jackson Smith and Jigba and pair him with Stroud. They didn't do that. So, all right, they're building now. I keep going back. You need 22 starters in the NFL. They have 2 automatic now. They have their quarterback and they have the best edge guy, and now they keep building that up. They have a franchise left tackle, a top 3 left tackle in the NFL. Let them cut.
Tunsil, yeah. And friend of the program, DJ Bienemy, is now the Texans beat writer, formerly the Jets beat writer. And he made a good point. He's like, dude, the Texans have like $130 million in cap space next year. So
I think the Patriots are having a really good draft. They took Keon White, the edge from Georgia Tech. He looks so angry being drafted right now. Are you watching?
Well, I was watching. I'm watching on delay now on the computer, but I had the draft on ESPN, but they put the Warriors-Kings game on. So
all right.
I'm watching that now. The Kings are up
2-0. I have to go engage on Twitter. I have not been on since the Tippmann pick. Mike.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
What should I tweet?
Get after it, man. Get after it. Very fun.
Make some stupid tweet about the offensive line. I'll use the same meme that I have like 1,000 times.
This is not our best video.
I think it was pretty good.
It was pretty good for all the people that came over from. They had like 1,800 concurrent viewers. Like 1,800 people.
1,800 people watched me say that. I talked about Jamie Lannister fucking his sister and horrible things.
You fucked me on that line too, because I had a very good line coming in, and you just torpedoed it and ruined the entire great call out that I had. I'll remember
Really
it.
good quote.
All right, have a good one, buddy. Joe
All right, my
Tippman.
friend. Jet up.